It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got another video suggested by a few of you guys. So shout out to Shy Boo and shout out to Unruly Lime 47 for suggesting this video from Poridu titled "The Concerning Stamina Meter Dead by Daylight is Testing will likely become permanent." Now, my immediate response to just the title alone is yes, please make it fucking permanent. First thing that comes to mind is please make this permanent. Please. We need it to be permanent because one of the biggest glaring issues that this potentially could allow for a solution is the whole W shift W meta that this game already has. And if you combine the fact that there already is pallet density, overblown as it is, we've already covered in a previous video that they already had stated, which is on the channel if you're curious, they already stated that pallet density will not be looked at, changed, reviewed, or anything in the near future, or they don't have any plans to look at it. They think that it's perfectly fine. And as you guys know who have been playing the game understand that there's a pallet literally every 3 steps. So it literally makes no sense to me as the player of the killer side, but apparently to them they think this is amazing. So I don't know. But regardless, it seems like somebody here is disagreeing with the fact that we need this as a thing. Now mind you, what they could do is increase the stamina amount a little bit more, just judging by the clip I'm seeing within the video, but they still should have a stamina meter, like or let it, like, maybe reduce it a smidge about how much it burns, but at least make it have a stamina meter in the first place, because we can't, like, this could be the way to solve the whole W shift W meta, because holding W is way too powerful, and for some reason they haven't never fixed it in over 10 years of this game existing.
With that being a stamina meter for survivors. For those unaware, here's how the stamina meter currently functions. Killers can poison survivors with a projectile.
Now, just judging by the way that they're pathing, it seems like they're not paying attention to anything besides the stamina bar. And that's partially why I think they might be just like, they might not like the fact that there is a stamina bar, which to me means that they're kind of, I can only imagine like other players within this are probably also struggling with it and probably going to complain about it because they are not used to it. Now, I think, like I said, you can either increase the amount of stamina or make it decrease slower, but still have it in the game because it needs to be there. Now, to be fair, the pathing was very bad. They were getting stuck on stuff, so you can't really blame the stamina bar for that. That's you. At the end of the day, that's you. Like, that you decided to run incorrectly. You decided to run into a table. That's not really the game's fault. That's you. You have to look where you're going. To be fair,
unaware, here's how the stamina meter currently functions. Killers can poison survivors with a projectile, which causes a temporary introduction of a stamina meter. As a survivor runs, the stamina meter quickly drains. If the stamina meter fully depletes, a survivor is forced to walk for several seconds until their stamina returns. A survivor can prevent the stamina bar from draining by walking or stopping movement altogether. Now, as soon as I encountered this new status effect, I immediately knew that this was being tested for something down the road. I, as well as many other players, know DBD well enough to recognize that a new status effect like this is—
yes, please make the status effect a permanent mechanic in the game. It'll literally solve a bunch of problems for the killer side. It will. Because keep in mind that the reason that Blight is well, I wouldn't even consider him an S tier anymore. I would say like the A+, but the fact that he misses out on his opportunity to M1 if necessary, and even more heavily now relies on both the rat and crow or bird add-on or whatever it is just to even keep up. Because if you guys know, which a lot of people of course don't know, it's the DBD community, they don't know anything, but the fact of the matter is that the Blight is coded to where, similar to Chucky, similar to Oni, where the haste will affect your mobility during your power. So for example, with Chucky, we'll say if you're using the rapid brutality combo that I probably showed you guys on stream before, you can use it to M1 with the hairspray add-on. You can M1 while in slice and dice, and then immediately follow up with your obviously you hidey ho M1 then slice and dice. My mistake. You then can move basically as if it were pre-nerf Chucky for a few seconds. Not bad at all. You can then catch up, can help out a lot, and it works similarly with Blight. It works similarly with Oni and stuff like that. They're very good when you add haste to them while they're in power. And so that's what makes Blight even stronger in some situations with having haste. Now, when you reduce him from 4.6 to 4.4, you directly just reduce his speed just in the Blight Rush as it is. Just by math alone, that's just how it works. If you're slower, you're just not gonna make it that far or be there that fast. And then it then relies on having to use those stank ass add-ons in order to try to keep up. Now, I still think he's like an A+. I would not consider him S tier anymore, just due to the fact that he has those things. You could disagree if you want to go, oh, he's S tier to me. That's fine. But at least from my perspective, I don't consider him a pure S tier anymore. Now, I just think that's Nurse's job, because Nurse can just go through walls. I mean, there's nothing that can beat that. So, with that being said, right, laying down the foundation. The fact of the matter is that you already have the reason that these characters are strong. So we look at high mobility like Blight. We look at high mobility like Kaneki. We look at high mobility like Wesker or whatever. People gravitate to these characters because they can save time in the match, ultimately. Because that's why people aren't rushing to get on Trapper and Skull Merchant and Ghostface and Hag and Pig and all, because they don't have mobility to help save time. Ultimately, the killer experience is like is a time management game at the end of the day. You're trying to prevent these objectives being progressed by trying to get over there fast enough to prevent the progression to be created. Very simple. A lot of people don't understand that, but it is a thing. Okay? So that also directly affects characters like I just mentioned that I just listed. Those characters then get left in the dust, and that's why characters that are not even within the B tier sometimes get ignored too. We can look at even Wraith, I would say, is an outlier within the B tier because he can move quickly while being cloaked. So at least you won't be hurt as easily, seen as easily, and you can cut off a lot of opportunities for them to be able to quickly get away because you can catch them off guard. Not every character has that. A big component, especially with ranged characters like Springtrap, like the Huntress, like Slinger, like even Pyramid Head, they're constantly countered by Shift W, Shift W, Shift W every single time. And when even my favorite killer, oh my god, like even my boy Pyramid Head was reworked, it was a nerf at the end of the day. It was ultimately a nerf, and I have not played him pretty much at all because of that. He's just so much weaker that it's just like, what is the point? Because one of my favorite aspects of him was the fact that he was ranged and actually had the range to follow it. So that meant that if I was able to predict where they're going to go, I can probably get the hit. Similar to how Henry works, but a little bit more stylish and a little cooler. And it's way more horror. You know what I mean? Something looks way cooler with that wave coming out. But now he's just Nemesis range, so I have to basically be point blank, basically within 12 meters to shoot the wave out. It's such a waste of time. And it's so sad. And I just don't play him anymore. He's whack. As a result, I used to like that old Pyramid Head range. Now, when using him, he's going to deal with the Shift W nonsense, and that works with every other M1, every ranged character, alongside with the clutter. Huntress is going to struggle, Slinger is going to struggle because they already added a bunch of invisible walls, the gaps and things. So, and then on top of that is the fact that Slinger's already been bugged for literally years, where he all his cosmetics have misaligned guns that don't let you shoot where you're aiming, because each gun will have the harpoon come out of a different spot on the screen. So literally, if you main a skin, then you probably will get used to it. But the only one that's aligned correctly is the default weapon. So you miss out on the opportunity to just customize your Slinger's gun the way you want. Like, Lord, like, it's just like, this would be the holy grail of an option to allow for that to be prevented. We don't need whole W nonsense to continue to plague the game. Now, that's only one little piece of the gigantic shitfest of a puzzle, but at the very least, that's one step in the right direction towards a much more better experience for everybody involved. because then we can start making moves to have every killer start to actually be good instead of them all like most be shit. And of course, there's a laundry list of things that need to be changed as well. You already know: gen speed, survivor perks that are way too overpowered, the gigantic maps, the pallet density. Like, all of these things are massive problems that plague this game and its experience. At the end of the day, it's terrible.
Is not being merely introduced as an exclusive feature for a special event. DBD's history not only proves how new features like this eventually become permanent, but it's also a reminder of how DBD has gone an entire decade without any kind of stamina meter. This is quite the distinction for DBD, as many other asymmetrical horror games have always relied on a stamina meter to help somewhat balance things. The closest DBD has come to a stamina meter of any kind would probably be Exhaustion or Hinder. However, Exhaustion was only...
Yeah, that's the problem. Exhaustion and Hinder don't do anything. Exhaustion only prevents you spamming your speed boost from sprint burst and lithe and what do you call it? Balanced landing and stuff like that. Dead hard and whatnot. That's all it really does. And then Hindered only was applicable to what? 2 characters in the game? In their power, which is countered by Vigil? Ooh, fun. Clown at least is decent, but he's an M1, so you're just kind of limited by what M1s can do, which is just walk around on foot with his big ass shoes and his big jelly belly swinging around all over the screen. Like, he's not doing anything. His slow ass. Like, come on, bro. And then Freddy used to have those little pools on the ground he would place, which I've managed to get pretty decent with. But now it's like shooting the wave thing, but mind you, it's only 12.5% hindered, and it lasts for like 3 seconds. That's all weak. Nobody cares about Freddy at this point. He's just terrible as well, especially compared to like what you could be using. It's just sad. It really is just sad. I joined the game to play Myers and Freddy and whatnot, and it's like they're just like so bad. Like it's a damn shame. Like, people come in to play these games for a reason. But anyway, let's quickly listen.
Only created to help limit the power of certain haste perks, and Hinder only slows down a character's overall movement speed. The stamina meter is essentially an excessive combination of both Exhaustion and Hinder, as it limits how much a survivor can run. And for better or for worse, DBD has been balanced around the fact that survivors can continuously run without having to manage a stamina meter.
And that right there is the problem. Yes, the game is balanced around the fact that they have infinite sprint, but that in itself is what causes the problem. Because Shift W meta is the most effective thing against range killers and M1 killers, which make up the vast majority of the roster. The only characters that counter that are pretty much like Blight and Kenneki types, and that's what, 2 out of the 40 something. So not a good ratio. We need something to allow that for these characters to be able to keep up with the rest of the roster. I don't think that you should be able to split the entirety of the roster and just say, oh, they're all just dog shit, just use those, and then all you get is complaint because everyone plays only those 2 to 3 characters, and then beg for nerfs on those characters, and then you just make killer even more unplayable. So once you take in these different ideas that we've covered, even Oddstarva had mentioned that we need to reduce the map size, reduce the pallet amount. That'll already help the M1s. Add a stamina meter. That'll completely rebalance the game so it actually requires some fucking brain power, because ultimately Survivor doesn't actually need to use much brain power in the current state of the game. Now, are there good Survivor players? Yes. The problem is, though, is that the incentive to be good at the Survivor is not really there anymore. They've taken away a lot of the skill expression because people that are the Timmy No Thumbs of the player base can run around and just spam spacebar and fly off and do whatever the fuck they want because of just how much they've handheld the side. Add a stamina bar and now you're heading in the right direction. Start adding some limitations to this stuff. Start making killers actually powerful. Like, why are the characters with powers weaker than people running around with lunchboxes and plates in their hand in the event? Makes no sense. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any logical sense. So what I'm curious to hear about is what you guys think of a stamina bar. I think that it would be one of the better changes. It's only a droplet in the bucket of the gigantic gallons of other ideas that need to be like fixed and adjusted and stuff like that. But I feel like that's just one change that could allow for something to be positive again. But like I said, I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section. If you want to watch other stuff that's not DVD slop, I got a Rivals channel, and I also have a video essay channel that I'm working on currently, and hopefully I can get that video out soon. First video of the channel. Check it out, man. And consider becoming a member on YouTube or Patreon, or even subbing on Twitch. I will see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon Crow Vader. All my YouTube members: Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not JLo, Evil Peach, Hargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.